Imagine for a second that someone just walks up to you and hands you the keys to a Formula One race car. I mean, it is just this absolute masterpiece of modern engineering.
Oh man, I would be terrified.
Right. You have essentially unlimited speed, instant acceleration, and frankly, like way more raw power than you even know what to do with. But there's this massive catch.
Let me guess, you don't know how to drive it.
Exactly. You have never driven anything faster or more complex than a golf cart. And you are staring at a steering wheel that looks like a supercomputer with, 30 different dials.
Yeah, that is a recipe for a disaster.
It really is. If you just jump in, ignore the manual, and slam your foot on the gas pedal, you're absolutely not going to win the race. You're just going to crash into the wall a lot faster with a lot more force.
Which is, it's a perfect image for the current moment in the tech industry right now. Everyone just got handed the keys to the fastest machine ever built, but very few people were taught how to actually steer the thing.
Precisely. And that brings us right to the core of today's deep dive. We have a genuinely unique setup for you today.
Yeah, we are actually working directly with the team over at Skill Wanderer.
Right, so the material we're exploring is a real brand new learning module pulled straight out of their curriculum. The lesson is titled Benefits, Trade-offs, and When to Use AI.
And our entire mission for today is to figure out how you can navigate artificial intelligence in your daily tech career so that it actually acts as a true accelerator for your growth, rather than, something that quietly derails it.
Yeah, and before we get completely lost in the weeds here, I do want to invite you to check out the full course for yourself. You can find it over at https://dojo.skill-wanderer.com/course-sci, First Learning for Tech Careers.
It's a fantastic resource.
It really is. And what's incredibly cool about their platform and why we were so excited to dive into this material is that they use what they call multiple model learning.
Oh, right. So you're not just stuck reading a wall of text.
Exactly. You can engage with this exact same curriculum through video, podcast formats, slide decks, or traditional deep reading. You literally choose how your brain absorbs the information best. So definitely go check that out.
Definitely.
But for now, let's get into the core of this. Okay, let's unpack this. The material presents this massive, glaring paradox right out of the gate.
Yeah.
AI is undeniably the biggest speed multiplier we have ever seen in tech.
Yeah, it's unprecedented.
Right. But there is an explicit warning here. They say wrong speed is still wrong. If you use it badly, it just makes you sprint in the wrong direction.
What's fascinating here is how the curriculum defines the foundational rule for avoiding that exact scenario.
Which is what?
Well, before you even touch your keyboard, before you type a single prompt into whatever tool you're using, you have to mentally establish your relationship with the AI. And the rule is brilliantly simple. You are the manager.
You are the manager. I like that.
Right. AI is not a replacement for you. It is a tool that you direct. You are the one entirely in charge of your learning, your daily work, and your final decisions.
That shifts the perspective entirely, doesn't it? It takes you out of that mindset of, well, the AI is doing my work for me, and puts you into the seat of, I am orchestrating the work.
Precisely. But let's be real, managing is a very distinct skill.
Oh, absolutely.
If you are the manager, you have to know exactly what job your employee is supposed to be doing at any given moment.
Right. And to solve that, the material provides a very practical framework called the AI Role Selector. The idea is that AI doesn't just have one mode. Depending on the specific task sitting on your desk, you actively assign the AI a different job title.
Yeah, let's break those down because the mechanism behind each role is totally different. So first, if your goal is learning, the AI plays the role of the teacher.
Okay, the teacher.
Right, and when the AI is the teacher, your responsibility as the manager is strictly verification. You have to check if you actually understand the concept in your own words, rather than just, passively nodding along to a beautifully formatted explanation.
Right, because reading a clear explanation feels a lot like understanding. But neurologically, it really isn't. I mean, if the teacher takes the test for you, you walk away with zero actual knowledge.
Exactly, you've got it. So the second role is decision-making. Here, the AI plays the consultant.
The consultant. Okay, how does that one work?
The mechanism here is using the AI to map out the territory. It gives you options, it highlights trade-offs between different architectures or frameworks, but your absolute non-negotiable responsibility is to make the final call yourself.
You don't let the consultant sign the checks.
Exactly, you never do. Now, third is execution. When you just need to get things done, like writing boilerplate code or formatting data, The AI plays the assistant.
Got it. And what's my job there?
Your job is to define the goal meticulously and then ruthlessly inspect the quality of the output.
And the final one is repetition, right? Where the AI plays the automation helper.
Yes. For repetitive tasks, your responsibility shifts to systems design. You set the strict rules, you monitor the ongoing results, and crucially, you handle the complex, messy edge cases that the automation inevitably chokes on.
I always think about it like hiring an incredibly eager, unbelievably fast, but slightly naive intern.
Oh, that's a good way to look at it.
Right. Because if you hire an intern and you hand them a massive high-stakes infrastructure project on a Monday morning, and then you just go take a nap under your desk until Friday.
You're going to get fired.
Exactly. Whatever disaster happens to your servers next is entirely on you. You can't blame the intern. You are the manager. You have to actively decide, okay, for this specific hour, are you going to be my research consultant? Or are you going to be my drafting assistant?
You give them boundaries and you review everything.
Exactly. And that intern analogy bridges us perfectly to the underlying mechanics of leverage. Once you understand that you are the manager, you have to know exactly what risks you are introducing into your workflow.
Right. Why is delegating to this AI intern so incredibly tricky? It really comes down to the physics of leverage.
Okay, physics. Tell me more.
Well, leverage multiplies your applied force, right? AI gives you massive cognitive leverage and incredible speed, but leverage is entirely agnostic. It multiplies your errors just as efficiently as it multiplies your successes.
Oh, wow. So if you stop thinking, the downside is just massively magnified.
Let's talk about the specific trade-offs here, because we all know the benefits. AI gives you incredibly fast access to ideas and explanations.
Sure.
But what is the actual mechanism making that dangerous?
The danger lies in how large language models actually work under the hood. They are not databases of truth. They are highly sophisticated predictive text engines.
Right, they're just guessing the next word.
Exactly. Their primary mathematical goal is to generate a sequence of words that looks highly probable and satisfying based on your prompt. Because of that, they can confidently invent explanations, hallucinations that look structurally perfect but are factually entirely wrong. So the trade-off for instant access to ideas is that some of those ideas are just highly confident, extremely articulate guesses.
Which means if you aren't doing the verification work of a manager, you are just absorbing those guesses as hard facts.
Yeah, that's terrifying. And another trade-off I see constantly is, well, you can use AI to run way more experiments in way less time. You can generate 5 different ways to write a complex function in seconds.
But the trade-off there is the spaghetti on the wall approach.
Yeah.
You might end up experimenting blindly. You plug in code, see if it compiles, and if it fails, you just paste the error log right back into the AI and try the next output.
Right. You achieve the result, but you completely bypass the process of actually understanding the underlying mechanics of what the code is doing.
Let's make that really concrete. Say you're building a new feature. A good use of your AI intern is asking it to generate a few different options for a specific isolated component.
Or having it explain a complex regular expression so you don't have to spend an hour parsing it yourself.
Exactly. But the disastrous use is letting the AI make foundational architecture decisions, like how your entire database should be structured, decisions that you don't personally understand, and then just shipping it.
Because when that database architecture hits a scaling bottleneck 6 months down the line, and trust me, it will, you are going to be completely lost.
You won't know how to fix it or even how to diagnose it.
Right, because you didn't build the mental model of how it works in the first place. You outsourced the architecture, which basically means you outsourced your own expertise.
Or take something as simple as professional communication. Using AI to fix the tone of a difficult email or to organize a chaotic brain dump into clear bullet points. That is fantastic leverage.
No, I do that all the time.
We all do. But hitting send on a drafted email without meticulously reviewing it, that is incredibly dangerous. The recipient doesn't care that an algorithm wrote it.
No, they do not.
That message still represents your personal judgment and your professional reputation. It really creates an illusion of competence. And that illusion leads to cognitive detachment.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. I want to push back on this a little bit.
Okay, go for it.
We know these tools sound perfectly certain. We know they are incredibly articulate. If they can give us a 90% accurate answer in 2 seconds, how on earth do we stop ourselves from naturally drifting in that detached state?
It's tough.
I mean, on a Friday afternoon when you're just exhausted, human beings love taking the path of least resistance. How do we actually fight the urge to just let the machine do the heavy lifting of thinking for us.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, answering that requires looking at the psychology of how humans adopt any new, powerful technology.
Right.
We have to find a very deliberate balance between naive, blind trust, and stubborn, paranoid rejection.
Okay, so what's the middle ground?
The concept we need to internalize here is healthy doubt. Think about how you interact with a human expert, maybe a senior engineer or a highly paid consultant. You respect their input, but you still maintain healthy doubt.
Right, because people can be wrong.
And AI can absolutely be wrong. Its advice can be incomplete, or it might be optimizing for the wrong variable just because your prompt wasn't specific enough. Having healthy doubt isn't an insult to the tool. It is a required part of using it professionally.
I hear you saying we need healthy doubt, but let's be real. If I am on a super tight deadline and the AI spits out a block of code that passes all my unit tests, I'm going to ship it. It is way too tempting.
I know.
How is this healthy doubt actually practical in a high-pressure tech environment? Doesn't doubt just slow you down?
That is the exact trap on the other side of the spectrum. The material warns heavily about the secondary failure mode, which is too much doubt.
Too much doubt.
If you are so suspicious and paranoid about the AI making a mistake that you refuse to use it for initial drafting, or you spend hours agonizing over a basic boilerplate generation, you are losing out on the single biggest speed advantage of our era.
Yeah, the developer next to you who knows how to manage the AI is going to run absolute laps around you.
Exactly. The goal isn't to be paralyzed by fear of the tool. The goal is controlled use. Not blind trust, and definitely not total rejection.
And a massive part of that controlled use comes down to knowing when you absolutely must unplug.
Mm-hmm.
There's a section in this module on learning without AI
Yeah.
that honestly it fundamentally changed how I view my own workflow.
Yes, the concept of the unplugged learner.
Yep.
The underlying mechanics of human learning haven't changed just because we invented large language models.
Right.
If the AI is helping you every single second of the day, auto-completing your code, summarizing your documents, drafting your messages, your brain actually starts to confuse the tool's competence with your own. You lose track of what you actually know.
Which means self-education without AI is still absolutely mandatory. The analogy that really drove this home for me is going to the gym.
Oh, the gym analogy is great.
Yeah, if you go to the gym to do bench presses, the entire point is the friction.
Yeah.
The point is the gravity pulling the weight down,
Yeah.
forcing your muscles to tear and rebuild stronger. If you bring a forklift into the gym to lift the bar for you,
Yeah.
the weight gets lifted, the output is achieved, but your muscles didn't grow at all.
That is the perfect visualization of cognitive atrophy. When you outsource the friction of problem solving to AI, you outsource the growth. The friction is where the learning actually happens.
Yeah.
When you struggle to track down a bug, or when you wrestle with a complex architectural concept, your brain is building vital neural pathways. It is building grit, and it is building intuition. If you bypass the struggle, you end up with what we call borrowed understanding.
And borrowed understanding is a total house of cards. You sound smart in Slack messages, but when the system goes down at 2 a.m. or you are in a live whiteboard interview, borrowed understanding instantly collapses under the pressure.
It really does.
So you have to periodically test yourself. You have to shut the laptop or close the AI window and force yourself to explain the concept out loud from scratch.
So what does this all mean for your career trajectory? It requires a massive, deliberate mindset shift. A lot of people are walking around with a very defeated mindset right now.
Thinking, well, AI is eventually going to write all the code and do all the analysis anyway, so deeply learning these underlying technical concepts is just pointless.
Which is a guaranteed recipe for making yourself irrelevant.
Completely.
The stronger, highly adaptive mindset is the exact opposite. Because AI is commoditizing the repetitive tasks and the basic execution, you must relentlessly master the things that the AI absolutely cannot replace.
Judgment, ownership, trust, communication, personal responsibility. If an AI can generate 1,000 lines of code in 10 seconds, the physical act of typing code is no longer the valuable part of your job.
Not at all.
The valuable part is your judgment in deciding which 1,000 lines to keep, how they integrate into the broader business goal, and taking the professional responsibility for maintaining them.
Okay, we've covered the mindset. We understand the psychological pitfalls of cognitive atrophy and borrowed understanding. Let's get hyper-practical for the listener.
Let's do it.
If you are sitting down at your desk tomorrow morning to start a new complex work session, how do you actually implement this? Where are the absolute boundaries?
I was hoping we'd get to this, because the curriculum doesn't just offer philosophy, it draws very clear, bright red lines. There are specific scenarios where you should never, under any circumstances, hand over full control to an AI.
Let's walk through them. First red line. Any final decisions that directly affect money, your career trajectory, safety, trust, or long-term strategic direction.
Right. Those elements require human accountability. You cannot point to an algorithm when a high-stakes strategic decision goes sideways.
Second red line. Assignments where the actual goal is your internal learning process, not just producing a finished output, like we said with the forklift at the gym.
Yeah, if you are taking a course to learn a new programming language and you use AI to instantly solve all the practice exercises, you are literally just sabotaging your own brain.
Exactly. Third red line. Work that you will personally have to explain, defend, or manage later. Imagine presenting a complex data analysis to a senior team or a really demanding client.
Oh man, if they stop you and ask, why did you choose this specific statistical model over the alternative?
And your only internal answer is, well, because the AI generated it and it looked good, you lose all professional credibility in that room. You cannot defend logic you didn't originate or deeply verify.
Absolutely not. And the fourth red line, any claims that need real, verified evidence, documentation, or source verification. We talked about hallucinations earlier. AI is notoriously bad at citing real, existing documents accurately.
So true.
If your work relies on strict factual accuracy, the AI is a brainstorming partner, not a researcher.
And to help you actually navigate those red lines in your daily workflow, the material provides an incredibly practical framework. It is a 4-step checkpoint practice that takes maybe 60 seconds to run through before you start any task.
Okay, what's step one?
Step 1, write down the task you're about to do in one single sentence. Force yourself to be completely clear about the objective.
Got it. Step two, choose the AI's role from that selector we talked about earlier. Are you hiring it as your teacher, your consultant, your assistant, or your automation helper? You have to actively assign the title in your head.
Step 3 is where the actual management happens. You must explicitly define what the AI is going to do versus what you are going to control.
So you're drawing the boundary line for that specific work session.
Exactly. For example, you might say, the AI will generate the initial regular expression, but I will personally write the unit tests to verify it works.
Right. And finally, step four, pick one specific part of the task that you commit to verifying or thinking through completely without AI assistance.
I know what you're going to say.
I am. I absolutely have to push back here. Step four says, I deliberately have to do a piece of the work without AI. Doesn't that completely defeat the purpose of having a massive speed multiplier in the first place?
I hear you.
If I have a machine that can do 100% of the task, why am I arbitrarily forcing myself to do 20% of it manually? It feels incredibly inefficient.
It feels inefficient in the micro, but it is highly efficient in the macro. That 20% manual effort isn't about the output, it is an investment in maintaining your own cognitive baseline.
Okay.
By forcing yourself to keep a piece of the puzzle entirely inside your own brain, you stay actively engaged with the logic of the system. You are preventing the cognitive atrophy we discussed. You are ensuring that you remain the manager rather than quietly slipping into the passenger seat.
Okay, that makes total sense.
Yeah.
It is the toll you pay to retain your expertise.
Right.
And to really solidify that, the material introduces a final habit called knowledge extraction. This is brilliant. After you finish a task using AI, you don't just instantly tab over to the next ticket. You pause for 2 minutes and you write down 4 short lines to analyze what just happened.
Right. 1, the benefit gained. What did the AI actually help me do faster or better? Let's acknowledge the win. 2, the trade-off risk. What was the specific danger or blind spot that appeared alongside that benefit?
3, the control point kept. What piece of human judgment did I successfully hold on to during that session?
And 4, the rule for next time. Based on this experience, when should I lean into the AI more, and when do I need to tighten my managerial control?
It turns every single interaction you have with an AI tool into a meta-learning exercise about your own workflow. It forces you to constantly iterate on how you manage this incredibly powerful tool.
It does.
And there was one final direct self-check question from the module that honestly, I think it should be written on a sticky note and placed on the edge of every tech professional's monitor.
It really raises an important question, and perhaps the most vital one in the entire curriculum. Are you using AI for speed, or are you using it to avoid thinking?
Oof, that one hits incredibly hard. Are you using it to avoid thinking? Because we all do it.
We really do.
You're tired, you're facing a wall of undocumented legacy code, the headache is setting in, and you just dump the whole mess into the prompt box, hoping the magical machine will make the problem go away.
And the second you do that, that is the exact moment you transition from being the manager of the process to being a passenger. And as we established at the very beginning of this deep dive, the passenger doesn't get to steer the race car. They just go wherever the machine takes them.
Which brings us full circle. AI is this unbelievable, nearly magical tool for leverage and speed. It can 10x your output, it can synthesize complex frameworks in seconds, and it can eliminate the repetitive drudgery of your daily tasks.
But you must remain the manager.
The right move, the career-accelerating move, is to use AI aggressively. Do not hide from it out of doubt, but use it while fiercely, relentlessly maintaining your own judgment, your own deep understanding, and your absolute responsibility for the final output.
It's the ultimate balancing act. You are maximizing the unbelievable upside of that cognitive leverage while systematically, daily, mitigating the downside of cognitive detachment.
Exactly. Now, before we wrap up, I want to remind you that this incredible deep dive was brought to you by the team over at Skill Wanderer. What we unpack today is just one single lesson from a much larger, comprehensive curriculum.
Highly recommend checking it out.
If you want to truly master this AI-first mindset and fundamentally future-proof your tech career, you need to go visit https://dojojo.skill-wanderer.com, second side first, for learning for tech careers. And please, take advantage of their multiple model learning system.
Yeah, that's the best part.
Whether you process information best by watching videos, listening to podcasts like the one you're listening to right now, flipping through visual slide decks, or deep reading the text, they have built the platform to adapt specifically to how your brain learns best. It is a total game changer for professional development.
I want to leave you with one final thought to mull over as you go back to your day. We talked about that eager intern, and we talked about that Formula One race car.
Yeah.
If AI eventually becomes so incredibly capable that it successfully automates all of our repetitive tasks, all of our basic drafting, and all of our routine coding, what uniquely human judgment muscles do you need to start intentionally training today so that when you are forced to take the steering wheel in a high-stakes moment, your managerial instincts haven't completely atrophied?
Something to seriously think about the next time you open up that prompt box and ask the machine to do your work. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you on the next deep dive.